Chapter 1. The dirt hit my face before I could scream. Cold. Heavy. Final. My name is Kaya Monroe, and tonight, the Steelclaw Pack buried me alive in the forests outside Chicago. Not for murder. Not for treason. For the unforgivable sin of being born without a wolf. 22 years of shame led to this moment. 22 years of watching my twin brother Damon shift into his magnificent gray wolf while I remained frustratingly, pathetically human. 22 years of being called defective, broken, a stain on the Monroe bloodline. But the worst part? The person holding the shovel was my fiancé. "I'm sorry, Kaya," Marcus Steele whispered above me, his voice cracking. "You know I love you. But my father says we can't risk contaminating our bloodline with Wolfless genes. The pack voted. It has to be this way." Another shovel of earth. Then another. I tried to move, but wolfsbane paralyzed my limbs. They drugged me at what I thought was our engagement dinner. My own family sat at that table and watched Marcus spike my wine. My father, Alpha Devin Monroe, couldn't meet my eyes. My mother dabbed tears with a silk napkin but said nothing. Only Damon looked conflicted. My twin, my other half, my best friend until puberty hit and his wolf came and mine didn't. "Please," I managed to croak. "Damon, please. Finish it," a cold voice commanded. Marcus's father, Victor Steele, the man who'd convinced my father this execution was necessary. "Before anyone from the city hears. The humans in Chicago are getting too curious about our territory. We can't afford attention." More dirt, pressing down on my chest, filling my mouth. This is how I die, I thought. Buried like garbage in the woods while Lake Michigan gleams just miles away, while tourists walk Navy Pier completely unaware that monsters live among them. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed me was the full moon, fat and silver, hanging above the tree line. Then nothing. But nothing became something. Deep in the suffocating earth, something inside me cracked open. Not broke. Opened. Like a door I'd spent 22 years trying to find, finally unlocking from the inside. Finally, a voice purred in my mind. "I thought they'd actually kill us before you were ready." Who? Who do you think? I'm you. The part of you that's been sleeping because you weren't strong enough to contain me. Luna wolves don't awaken like normal wolves. We wait until our human is forged in fire. Luna wolf? The rarest, most powerful wolf bloodline in existence. We went extinct 300 years ago. Surprise. You're the first one born in 3 centuries, and these idiots just tried to bury the moon goddess's chosen champion. I don't understand. You will. Now, should we show them what happens when you try to kill something divine? Power erupted from my core like a nuclear detonation. The earth above me didn't just move. It exploded. Dirt and roots and rocks blasted outward in a perfect sphere, and I rose from my grave wreathed in silver-white light that turned the forest into high noon at midnight. Marcus stumbled backward, shovel clattering from his hands. "What the?" I shifted. The transformation took seconds but felt like shattering and reforming simultaneously. Bones cracked and elongated. Fur sprouted across my skin. Not brown or gray or black like normal wolves. Pure white, luminescent, glowing like I'd swallowed the moon itself. When it finished, I stood on 4 legs, easily twice the size of any wolf I'd ever seen. Above my head, a perfect silver moon hung in the air, not the real moon but a manifestation of pure power. The mark of a Luna wolf. Marcus fell to his knees. "Blessed goddess. Kaya, you're not Kaya anymore." My wolf's voice rang out, audible to everyone present. Luna wolves could do that. Speak in both forms. I'm what you tried to destroy. I'm what your fear and small-mindedness almost murdered. And now, I'm your reckoning. Victor Steele recovered first, his alpha authority snapping into place. "Seize her. I don't care what she is. She's a threat to pack order." My roar shattered 3 windows in his estate half a mile away. The assembled wolves dropped instantly, necks bared in submission. Not because I commanded it, because my power left them no choice. Luna wolves existed outside normal pack hierarchy. We were the moon goddess's hands on earth. And I was furious. Chapter 2. Chaos erupted fast. Half the pack shifted, unsure whether to attack or submit. My father stood frozen, his face a mask of shock and something that might have been regret. My mother had fainted. Damon shifted into his wolf, positioning himself between me and Victor, though I couldn't tell who he was protecting. Then a new voice cut through the madness. Everyone.
Stand.
Down. A man emerged from the tree line, moving with predatory grace. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and eyes that gleamed amber, the mark of an alpha in his prime. He wore an expensive suit that screamed New York money, and his presence made even Victor Steele take an instinctive step back. "Who the hell are you?" Victor demanded. "Riker Blackwood, alpha of the Manhattan Pack." His gaze locked onto me, and something flickered in those amber eyes. Shock. Recognition. Wonder. And I'm here because the moon goddess sent me a vision 3 days ago showing me exactly this moment. My wolf's ears perked forward. Him. He's important. How do you know? Because I can feel the mate bond trying to snap into place, and I'm choosing to ignore it until we figure out if he's another Marcus. A vision? My father found his voice. What are you talking about? Riker's attention never left me. 3 days ago, the goddess showed me a white wolf rising from the earth. She told me the last Luna wolf would awaken in Chicago, and that she'd need protection from those too stupid to recognize a divine gift when they saw it.
His voice hardened.
She also showed me a pack trying to execute her. So I drove 16 hours straight from New York to stop it. Looks like I'm a few minutes late. This is Steelclaw territory, Victor snarled. You have no authority. I have every authority when it comes to protecting a Luna wolf, Riker interrupted. Ancient law supersedes pack boundaries. Any pack that harms a Luna wolf forfeits their right to exist. The words hung like an executioner's blade. We didn't know, my father said quickly. She was wolfless. We thought. You thought killing your daughter was easier than questioning your prejudices, Riker finished coldly. He looked at Marcus, who still knelt in the dirt. And you were going to marry her? Marcus couldn't speak, just nodded. Then you'll live knowing you tried to bury your mate alive. Riker's disgust was palpable. Congratulations. That guilt will haunt you until your dying day. He shifted his focus back to me. Kaya Monroe. The moon goddess requests your presence in New York. I'm offering you sanctuary in the Manhattan Pack. Not as a subordinate, but as an equal. A place where your power will be celebrated, not feared. He's telling the truth, my wolf observed. I can sense no deception. But that doesn't mean we trust him yet. Agreed. I shifted back to human form, standing an asterisk ked and unashamed in front of everyone who'd watched me be buried. Someone gasped. Probably because my body now bore silver markings that hadn't been there before, swirling patterns across my skin like living tattoos. Why? I asked Riker, my voice rough. Why would you drive across 3 states for someone you've never met? Because 3 years ago, something killed my sister, he said, and pain cracked through his controlled exterior. Something that moved like a wolf, but wasn't. Something that reeked of corruption and darkness. Before she died, she told me only a Luna wolf could stop what was coming. So when the goddess showed me you, I knew. You're the weapon we need against an enemy I don't fully understand yet. I'm not a weapon.
No.
You're a person who happens to be the only thing standing between wolfkind and extinction. He stripped off his jacket and offered it to me. A gesture of respect, not ownership. Come to New York. Learn what you are. Then decide what you want to do with it. I looked at the wolves who'd raised me. My father wouldn't meet my eyes. My mother was being helped to her feet, tears streaming. Marcus looked shattered. Damon's wolf approached slowly, head lowered. When he shifted back, his face was anguished. Kaya, I'm so sorry. I should have stopped this. I should have. You should have been my brother, I said quietly. But you chose being part of the pack over being my family. We're done, Damon. He flinched like I'd struck him. I turned to Riker. I'll come to New York, but I'm not promising anything beyond that. Fair enough. He looked at Victor and my father. By ancient law, the Steelclaw Pack now owes a blood debt to Kaya Monroe. If she calls, you answer. If she needs warriors, you send them. This debt lasts 3 generations, or until she releases you from it. That's outrageous. Victor started. It's merciful. Riker cut him off. Traditional punishment for attempting to execute a Luna Wolf is pack dissolution and alpha execution. She's being generous. I suggest you accept gracefully. My father bowed his head.
Defeated.
We accept. Then we're leaving. Riker gestured toward the darkness. I have a car waiting. As I walked away from the only home I'd ever known, wearing a stranger's jacket and leaving my old life in ruins, my wolf whispered, "This is just the beginning." I hope she was right. Chapter 3. Riker's car was a sleek black Mercedes that probably cost more than my father's house. The interior smelled like leather and expensive cologne, and the silence between us felt heavy with unspoken questions. We'd been driving for an hour before I finally spoke. Tell me about your sister. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. Her name was Arya. She was 24, brilliant, training to be our PAX healer. 3 years ago, she was found in Central Park, torn apart. The human police ruled it an animal attack. We knew better. What did it? Something that shouldn't exist. The pack elders called it a void walker. A wolf that's been corrupted by dark magic, transformed into something that feeds on other wolves' life force. They're supposed to be myths. Not myths, my wolf murmured. Void walkers are what happens when wolves make deals with things older than the moon goddess, trading their souls for power. They're our natural enemies. I'm sorry, I said aloud. About your sister. She told me something before she died. Riker continued, his voice tight. She said she'd had a vision. That a white wolf would come from the Midwest, that this wolf would be the key to stopping the darkness spreading through wolf packs. I've been searching for 3 years. And the moon goddess just conveniently showed you exactly where I was? The goddess works in mysterious ways. He glanced at me. But I'm not complaining. You're alive. That's what matters. We fell silent again. I watched Illinois blur past the window, then Indiana. Eventually, we'd cross into Ohio, then Pennsylvania, then finally New York. My phone had been buried with me, so I had no way to contact anyone. Not that there was anyone to contact. My family had tried to murder me. My friends had watched it happen. I was alone. You have me, my wolf reminded gently. And possibly him, if the mate bond is real and not just my imagination.
Is it?
The mate bond? Won't know until we lower our guard enough to find out. But his wolf is calling to ours. I can feel it. Can I ask you something? Riker said, breaking the silence again. Depends on the question. Why didn't you kill them? You had the power. You had every right. Why let them live?
I thought about that.
About Marcus's shaking hands. About my father's inability to look at me. About the way my mother had sobbed. Because killing them would have made me what they claimed I was. I said finally. A monster. And I spent 22 years refusing to become what they called me. I'm not starting now. Something shifted in Riker's expression. Respect, maybe. Or admiration. That's the right answer, he said quietly. Luna wolves aren't just powerful. They're supposed to be better than the rest of us. Wiser. More controlled. The moon goddess chose you, for a reason. Yeah? What reason is that? I don't know yet, but I'm going to help you find out. We stopped for gas somewhere in Ohio around 3 a.m. While Riker filled the tank, I wandered into the convenience store, still wearing his jacket over my torn engagement dress. The clerk stared at me but said nothing. Smart. I grabbed a coffee that tasted like burnt rubber and a protein bar that tasted worse. As I waited to pay, a TV mounted on the wall caught my attention. Mysterious explosion in the Chicago suburbs, the news anchor was saying. Residents reported seeing a bright flash of light around midnight, followed by what some described as an earthquake. Authorities are investigating.
They were talking about me.
About my awakening. You okay? Riker appeared beside me, offering his credit card to the clerk. They're calling me an earthquake. Better than calling you what you actually are. He handed me a bag. Bought you some clothes. Figured you'd want to stop wearing a ripped dress. Inside the bag. Jeans, a t-shirt, sneakers. All in my size somehow. How did you? Luna wolves broadcast their physical specifications to potential mates, he said, then looked embarrassed. Or so the old texts say. I didn't mean to imply. It's fine. I cut him off before this got more awkward. Thank you. For the clothes and for saving me. I didn't save you. You saved yourself. His amber eyes met mine. I just offered you a place to figure out what happens next. In the bathroom, I changed into the new clothes and caught my first real glimpse of myself since the awakening. The girl in the mirror was me, but transformed. My previously dull brown hair now shimmered with silver undertones. My eyes, always ordinary hazel, now held flecks of luminous white. And those silver markings on my skin, they pulsed gently with inner light. I looked like something out of mythology. Because you are, my wolf said proudly. We're legend made flesh. Might as well look the part. We reached New York just as dawn broke over the Manhattan skyline. I'd seen the city in movies, on TV, in pictures. Nothing prepared me for the reality. Glass towers piercing clouds. Streets already packed with cars, and people despite the early hour. The sheer density of life, human and otherwise. The packed territory is in Tribeca, Riker explained, navigating traffic with practiced ease. We own several buildings in the area. Legitimate businesses on the surface, pack operations underneath. Standard setup. How many wolves? 200 in Manhattan proper. Another 100 spread across the tri-state area. We're one of the largest urban packs in North America. Which meant I was about to meet 200 wolves who'd have expectations about what a Luna wolf should be. No pressure. Riker's building turned out to be a converted warehouse in an expensive neighborhood. The lobby looked like a high-end hotel, all marble and modern art. We took a private elevator to the top floor. Your quarters, he said, opening a door to a loft space that was bigger than my entire childhood home. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Hudson River. Exposed brick walls. Furniture that probably cost more than my father's yearly salary. This is too much, I protested. This is appropriate for a Luna wolf. He set my bag of clothes down. Get some rest. Tonight, I'll introduce you to the pack elders. They'll want to verify what you are. And if I don't verify, then we figure it out together. He moved toward the door, then paused. Kaya, I'm glad you're here. I know this is overwhelming, but you're safe now. I promise. After he left, I collapsed onto the bed and let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. Terror, grief, fury,
Loss.
I'd lost my entire life in one night. My family, my home, my identity as Kaya Monroe, the disappointing daughter. But I'd gained something too.
Power. Purpose.
A wolf who'd been waiting 22 years to wake up. And maybe, possibly, a man whose amber eyes made something in my chest ache with possibility. Sleep, my wolf urged. Tomorrow, we start learning what we're truly capable of. Tonight, we heal. I closed my eyes and let the darkness take me. This time, it felt like relief. Chapter 4. I woke to someone pounding on my door like they were trying to break it down. Rise and shine, Luna Wolf, a cheerful female voice called. Elder Mora is here, and she's terrifyingly excited to meet you. I stumbled to the door and opened it to find a girl about my age with wild red curls and a grin that belonged in a toothpaste commercial. I'm Sage, she announced, pushing past me into the loft. Riker's little sister. Well, not that little. I'm 24. But I'm definitely less intimidating than he is. So I've been assigned as your welcome committee and personal guide to not embarrassing yourself in front of 200 judgmental wolves tonight. I blinked at her. It's too early for this much energy. It's 2 in the afternoon. You've been asleep for 14 hours. She thrust a coffee cup at me. Drink this. then shower. Then I'm taking you shopping because showing up to meet the pack elders in gas station clothes is not the flex you want to make. I don't need. Yes, you do. Her tone gentled. Look, I know this is overwhelming. You just discovered you're something out of legend. You lost your entire life. You're probably terrified and angry and grieving. But tonight, you need to project strength. The pack is already buzzing with rumors about the White Wolf from Chicago. Give them a Luna Wolfworth following. She was right. I hated that she was right.
Fine. Shopping.
But nothing too expensive. Sage laughed. Honey, Riker already authorized unlimited budget. We're hitting Fifth Avenue. 3 hours later, I'd been transformed. Sage had dragged me through boutiques I couldn't pronounce, all staffed by people who took one look at me and knew exactly what I needed. My hair was trimmed and styled. My nails were done. And I now own more clothes than I'd had in my entire life in Chicago. Better, Sage declared as we sat in a cafe, surrounded by shopping bags. Now you look like someone who could burn down a city if she wanted to. Is that the goal? The goal is making sure no one questions your authority. She sipped her latte. Luna Wolves were spiritual leaders. They existed outside pack hierarchy. If you walk in there looking uncertain, wolves will test you. But if you walk in looking like you could end them with a thought, instant respect. What if I don't know how to be what they expect? Then fake it until you do.
She grinned.
That's what the rest of us are doing anyway. I liked Sage. She reminded me of what Damon used to be before puberty and pack politics ruined our relationship. Can I ask you something? I said carefully. Shoot. The mate bond between Riker and me. Is it real, or am I imagining it? Sage's expression turned serious. It's real. I felt it the second you two were in the same room. My brother has been alone since Arya died. Closed off. But when he looks at you, he smiled softly. He looks alive again. Like he remembers what hope feels like. I can't be his hope. I barely know how to be myself right now. Then be yourself and let the hope be a side effect. She stood, gathering bags. Come on. We have 3 hours before the meeting, and you still need to learn basic pack politics so you don't accidentally insult someone important. The Manhattan Pack's council chamber was built into the sublevels of Riker's building. As we descended in the elevator, I felt the weight of Earth above me and had to fight back panic. Breathe, my wolf urged. We're not being buried. We're walking into our destiny. The chamber itself was stunning. Circular, with walls carved from dark stone. Seats arranged in a semicircle around a central platform. And waiting there were 12 wolves, all radiating enough power to make my skin prickle. Riker stood at the center, dressed in a sharp black suit. When he saw me, his eyes widened slightly. Sage had dressed me in fitted black pants, a white silk blouse, and a leather jacket that somehow made me look dangerous and elegant simultaneously. My silver-streaked hair was pulled back, showing off the luminous markings on my neck. Elders, Riker began formally. I present Kaya Monroe, Luna Wolf, blessed of the moon goddess, risen from death to claim her birthright. An elderly woman stepped forward, leaning on a carved walking stick. Her eyes were sharp despite her age. I am Elder Mora, she said, her voice commanding. I have studied Luna Wolf history for 60 years. If you are what you claim, prove it. Not a request. A challenge. I looked at Riker, who nodded encouragingly. Show them, my wolf purred. Show them what happens when you doubt the divine. I closed my eyes and reached for that power that had exploded from my grave. It came easier this time, flooding through my veins like liquid silver. When I opened my eyes, I knew they glowed white. The markings on my skin blazed with light. Above my head, the silver moon appeared, not metaphorical but real enough to cast shadows. And when I spoke, my voice carried harmonics that made the stone walls vibrate. I am Kaya Monroe. I was buried alive by those who called me broken. I rose from the earth with the moon goddess's blessing. I am Luna Wolf, and I am here. The chamber fell silent. Then, as one, every elder dropped to one knee. Bless moon, Mora whispered, and I could have sworn I saw tears in her ancient eyes. She's real. After 300 years, she's real.
Chapter 5.
The next 3 weeks were intense. Mora took charge of my training with the enthusiasm of someone who'd been waiting her entire life for this moment. We started each morning at dawn, working on controlling my power so I didn't accidentally level buildings when I got emotional. Luna wolves are nuclear reactors, she explained during one session. Immense power, but it requires immense control. Your emotions are the fuel. Fear, anger, grief, they can trigger reactions you don't intend. She wasn't wrong. The first time I got frustrated during training, I accidentally created a light burst that knocked out power to 3 city blocks. Riker found me afterward, sitting in the training room with my head in my hands. I'm dangerous, I said without looking up. Maybe Chicago was right to bury me. Chicago was afraid of what you represented. He sat beside me. Change. Power they couldn't control. The possibility that their comfortable hierarchy might be challenged. And you're not afraid? Terrified. His honesty surprised me. But not of you. I'm afraid of failing you. Of not preparing you for what's coming. The Void Walkers? We've had 3 more attacks in the last month. 1 in Boston. 2 in Philadelphia. All wolf packs. All drained of life force. His jaw tightened. Whatever killed Arya is building an army. And, according to the old texts, only Luna wolves can stop them. No pressure then. He smiled slightly. You're handling this better than I expected. What choice do I have? Fall apart or fight? I choose fight. Something shifted in his expression.
Heat.
Admiration.
Want.
The mate bond chose that moment to surge between us, strong enough that I gasped. Kaya. I know. I stood quickly, needing distance. I feel it too. But I can't do this right now. I can't be your mate and your weapon and your... I don't want you to be my weapon, he interrupted, standing too. I want you to be yourself. Everything else is secondary. Is it? I challenged. Because it seems like everyone wants something from me. The pack wants a savior. Mora wants a perfect student. What do you want, Riker? He was silent for a long moment. I want my sister back, he finally said, voice raw. I want to stop watching wolves die to something I don't understand. I want to sleep without nightmares. And yes, I want you. The mate bond isn't something I chose, but it's real. Every time you're in the room, my wolf screams at me to claim you. To protect you. To make you mine. I'm not anyone's, I said softly. I just got free from people trying to own me. I know. That's why I'm waiting. Why I'll keep waiting until you're ready. He moved toward the door. But Kaya? When you are ready. I'm here. After he left, my wolf spoke. He's a good one. Better than Marcus ever was. That's a low bar.
Fair.
But I think we could love him. Given time. I wasn't sure I had time. Not with void walkers hunting wolves and a power inside me that could detonate if I lost control. But maybe that was the point. Maybe Luna wolves weren't meant for long, peaceful lives. Maybe we burned bright and died young, and the goal was just to make the burning matter. By week 4, I could shift in seconds, channel my light with surgical precision, and sense darkness from miles away. I also discovered other gifts. The ability to walk in dreams. To communicate across vast distances through moonlight. To heal minor injuries with a touch. And most terrifyingly, to sense corruption in other wolves. This is your greatest gift and your heaviest burden, Mora explained. You'll see people's darkness. Their secrets. Their pain. And you'll have to decide what to do with that knowledge. She wasn't kidding. I could feel the guilt radiating from a pack member who'd betrayed his mate. The fear from another who'd stolen from pack funds. The shame from a third who'd failed to save someone during Arya's death. It was exhausting. Like carrying everyone's sins as well as my own. One night, overwhelmed, I ended up on the building's rooftop, staring at the Manhattan skyline and wondering if I'd made a mistake coming here. You're broadcasting sadness across the pack bond. Sage's voice came from behind me. Half the pack is downstairs, crying into their coffee without knowing why. I'm a walking emotional nuke, I muttered. Added to the list of things I can't control. She sat beside me. Want to know a secret?
Sure.
Arya was my best friend. When she died, I blamed myself for months. I was supposed to meet her in Central Park that night. I canceled last minute because I had a date. Her voice cracked. If I'd been there, maybe I could have saved her. Or maybe I'd be dead too. I'll never know. Sage. My point is, we all carry guilt. We all have darkness. You're not special in that regard. She bumped my shoulder. But you're special in that you have the power to transform darkness instead of just carrying it. Arya told me once that Luna wolves don't destroy evil. They redeem it.
How?
Forgiveness. Understanding. Seeing people's pain and choosing compassion over judgment. She stood. Try it. Start with yourself. Forgive yourself for not being perfect. For being human. For taking time to figure this out. After she left, I sat under the stars and thought about forgiveness. I'd forgiven my family for trying to kill me, but I hadn't forgiven myself for not being strong enough to stop them from wanting to. You were strong enough, my wolf said gently.
You survived.
That's the ultimate strength. Maybe she was right. Chapter 6. The attack came on a Tuesday. I was in the training room with Mora when the alarms shrieked. Riker's voice boomed through the intercom. Code black. Rooftop. Everyone to defensive positions. We ran. The rooftop was chaos. Pack members shifted and ready for battle. And in the center, standing casually despite being surrounded by 50 hostile wolves, was a figure that made my blood freeze. He looked like a wolf, moved like one, but his eyes glowed with sickly green light, and his fur was gray streaked with black rot. The corruption rolled off him in waves. A void walker. Luna Wolf, it said in a voice like grinding glass. The master has been waiting for you to reveal yourself. Who's your master? I demanded, already shifting. My white wolf blazed with light, and the void walker actually flinched. The first darkness. The original corruption. He who existed before the moon goddess gave wolves souls. Its smile was all wrong. He's been gathering power for 300 years, killing Luna wolves who tried to stop him. You're the last obstacle. Then come get me. It lunged. The fight was brutal. This thing was fast, strong, and worst of all, every time I hit it with my light, it just absorbed the damage and kept coming. It's not alive, my wolf realized. It's animated corruption. We can't kill it. We can only purify it. I shouted to Riker. Get everyone back. He didn't question, just held the command, and the pack retreated. I stopped fighting, and did something insane. I embraced the Void Walker, wrapped my light around it like a blanket. And instead of trying to burn the corruption away, I simply held it, contained it, refused to let it spread. The creature screamed,
Thrashed.
but I held firm. I see you, I whispered. I see what you were before the darkness took you. You were a wolf once. Someone loved you. You loved someone. That doesn't go away just because you made a terrible choice. The corruption began to crack. Underneath, I glimpsed a young wolf's face. Terrified.
Trapped.
I forgive you, I said. For what you've done. For what you were forced to become. I release you from the darkness. The Void Walker dissolved. Not into nothing. Into light. Pure, clean energy that scattered on the wind. Where it stood, a small silver stone lay on the rooftop. A soul stone. The last fragment of the wolf who'd been corrupted. I picked it up gently. Rest now, I murmured. You're free. The pack was silent. Then Riker shifted back to human form and approached slowly. You just redeemed a Void Walker, he said, awe in his voice. That's never been done. Not in 3,000 years of recorded wolf history. Mora said Luna, wolves transform darkness. I figured I'd try. I swayed, suddenly exhausted. Riker caught me before I fell. You're incredible. I'm tired. That too. He lifted me easily. Come on. Let's get you inside before you collapse in front of the entire pack. As he carried me toward the elevator, I heard Sage yell, "That's our Luna Wolf." Anyone still doubting? Didn't think so. Despite the exhaustion, I smiled. Later, in my loft, Riker sat with me while I recovered. "The Void Walker mentioned a master," I said. "The first darkness. Do you know what that is?" According to legend, before the moon goddess gave wolves souls, we were just animals. Smart animals, but animals. Then something else appeared. Something that offered wolves power in exchange for their souls. Created the first corrupted wolves. He looked grim. The goddess intervened. Gave wolves divine souls so they couldn't be corrupted. Banished the darkness. But apparently it's back. And killing Luna wolves who try to stop it. 7 in the last 300 years. You're number 8. Cheerful. But you're also the first one to redeem a Void Walker instead of just fighting it. That changes everything. If you can purify the corruption instead of just destroying it, maybe we can actually win. Or maybe I just made myself a bigger target. He was quiet for a moment. Then, "I won't let anything happen to you." "You can't promise that. Watch me." His amber eyes were fierce. "Arya died because I wasn't there. I've lived with that guilt for 3 years. I'm not losing someone else I care about. Riker. I know. You're not ready for the mate bond. I'm not asking you to be. But I am asking you to let me protect you. Not because you're weak, but because you matter. To the pack. Toth mission.
To me.
The honesty in his voice cracked something open in my chest. "I don't know how to let people protect me," I admitted. "I spent 22 years being something people wanted to bury. Independence is the only survival skill I mastered. Then learn a new skill." He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away. When I didn't, he took my hand.
Trust.
Let someone stand beside you instead of always standing alone. The mate bond hummed between us, warm and insistent. "He's right," my wolf murmured. "We're stronger together. That's why the goddess pairs souls." "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Anything." "When the mate bond snaps completely into place, what happens? Will I lose myself? Become just an extension of you?"
No.
His answer was immediate and firm. True mate bonds enhance both partners. They don't erase individuality. You'll still be Kaya. I'll still be Riker. We'll just be better versions of ourselves because we'll have each other. What if I'm not ready for better? What if I'm still figuring out the current version? Then we figured out together. He squeezed my hand gently. No rush. No pressure. Just possibility. I looked at our joined hands and made a decision. Okay. Let's see where this goes.
Slowly.
With the understanding that if you ever try to control me or make decisions for me or treat me like I'm breakable, I will end you. He smiled, and it transformed his entire face. Noted. Anything else?
Yeah. Kiss me.
I want to see if the mate bond is as intense as everyone claims. His eyes darkened. Kaya, if we start this. I know what I'm asking for. He leaned in slowly, giving me time to change my mind. When his lips met mine, the mate bond didn't just snap into place. It detonated. Pleasure crashed through me, so intense I gasped. I could feel his emotions layered over mine. Desire, protectiveness, awe, hope. Could feel his wolf reaching for mine, twining together until I couldn't tell where I ended and he began. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, my wolf was purring like a satisfied cat. "That's our mate," she said smugly. "I told you he was worth keeping." Wow, I managed. Yeah. Riker looked dazed. That was wow. We sat in charged silence for a moment. "I should go," he said reluctantly, "before I forget how to be a gentleman." "What if I don't want you to be a gentleman?" His eyes flashed amber. "Don't tempt me, Kaya.
You need rest.
And I need a very cold shower." After he left, I lay in bed, still feeling the echoes of the mate bond humming through my veins. For the first time since being buried alive, I felt something other than fear or duty. I felt hope. Chapter 7. 2 months into my time in New York, Marcus showed up. I was training with Sage in the gym when Riker's second-in-command, a massive wolf named Cole, appeared looking uncomfortable. "Luna Wolf," he said formally. "There's a wolf at the gate. From Chicago. He says his name is Marcus Steele, and he's requesting an audience." Everything in me went cold. "Tell him to leave. He says he has information about the Voidwalkers. Says his pack is being targeted." I looked at Sage, who shrugged. "Your call. But information is information."
Fine.
"Bring him to the conference room. But he gets 5 minutes and Riker is present." Marcus looked terrible. He'd lost weight. His eyes were hollow with sleepless nights. And when he saw me, really saw me, the transformed version with silver hair and glowing markings, he literally stumbled backward. "Kaya," he breathed. "What did they do to you?"
They.
I kept my voice cold. "You mean what did you do to me?" "You buried me alive, Marcus." I know, and I've lived in hell ever since." His hands shook. "Every night, I see your face, hear you begging. I can't eat,
Can't sleep.
can't exist without remembering that I killed the woman I loved. Except you didn't kill me." I gestured to myself. Surprise. Riker stood beside me, a silent wall of alpha authority. His presence was the only thing keeping me from doing something violent. Marcus's eyes flickered to him, then back to me. "You're mated. Not your business. You have 4 minutes left. Talk." He swallowed hard. 3 weeks ago, Voidwalkers attacked the Steelclaw Pack. They killed 12 wolves, including my father. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of something. Not quite sympathy, but not satisfaction either. "I'm sorry about your father." "Don't be. He deserved it." Marcus's voice was bitter. Before he died, he confessed something about why he really wanted you dead. "Because I was wolfless. Because he knew what you were." Marcus interrupted. 23 years ago, a Luna wolf named Helena came to Chicago. She was hunting Voidwalkers. My father helped her. They had an affair. His voice dropped. She got pregnant. The room went silent. "You're saying..." "I'm saying you're Helena's daughter. A Luna wolf born of a Luna wolf. That's why you didn't manifest until the awakening. You weren't dormant. You were too powerful for a normal emergence." I couldn't breathe. "My mother isn't your biological mother. Your father bought you from Helena to raise as his own because he wanted Monroe blood to carry Luna wolf lineage. Helena died 6 months later, killed by the Voidwalker she'd been hunting. And my father spent 23 years terrified that you'd awaken and remember what he'd helped cover up." "Cover up?" Riker's voice was dangerous. "What did Victor help cover up?" Marcus wouldn't meet our eyes. "Helena discovered that someone in Chicago was feeding information to the Voidwalkers, helping them target Luna wolves. She was close to exposing them when she died. My father helped make it look like a random attack instead of an assassination." "Who was the traitor?" I demanded. "I don't know. He died before he could tell me. But the Voidwalkers targeting our pack now? They're looking for the same thing. Records. Evidence. Something Helena hid before she died." This was too much. I stood abruptly, needing air. "Kaya." Marcus reached for me. "Don't." I yanked away.
You don't get to touch me.
"You buried me alive, Marcus. You chose your father over me. You don't get forgiveness just because you brought information." "I'm not asking for forgiveness." His voice cracked. "I'm asking you to save what's left of my pack. The Voidwalkers are killing everyone. Children. Elders. They're not stopping until they find whatever Helena hid. Why should I help the pack that tried to execute me? Because you're better than we are." He finally looked at me directly. "Because you're what Una Wolf is supposed to be. Merciful. Just. Better than the wolves who hurt you." He pulled something from his pocket. A small silver locket. "Helena wore this. My father kept it after she died. I think it might be a key to whatever she hid." I took the locket carefully. The moment my fingers touched it, I felt a pulse of familiar energy. Mother, my wolf whispered. Odd. Our real mother. I opened it. Inside was a tiny photograph of a woman who looked eerily like me, silver hair and all. And on the back, coordinates. Where is this? I showed Riker. He studied it, then his expression went grim. California. Santa Monica specifically. The old Luna Temple. There's a Luna Temple in California?
Was.
It was destroyed 200 years ago in a Voidwalker attack. The ruins are still there, protected by ancient wards. He looked at Marcus. If Helena hid something there, it would have to be important. The wards only respond to Luna Wolf blood, which meant I was the only one who could access it. This could be a trap, Riker said quietly. Probably is, I agreed. But if Helena hid something worth dying for, I need to find it. Maybe it explains what the First Darkness actually wants. How to stop it permanently. Then we go to California. Riker's tone left no room for argument. Full security detail. We're not taking chances. I looked at Marcus, who stood there looking like a man waiting for execution. I'll help your pack, I said finally. Not because you asked. Not because I forgive you. But because innocent wolves are dying, and that's not acceptable. But Marcus? I stepped closer. After this is done, stay away from me.
I've moved on.
You're part of a past I'm leaving behind. Something died in his eyes. But he nodded. Thank you, Kaya, for being better than I ever was. After he left, I collapsed into a chair. You okay? Riker asked. I just found out my entire life was a lie. That my real mother was murdered. That I'm apparently important enough to warrant a conspiracy spanning 2 decades. I laughed, but it came out broken. Yeah, I'm fantastic. He knelt in front of me, taking my hands. We'll figure this out. Together. What if we go to California, and it's just more pain? More revelations that shred everything I thought I knew. Then we deal with it. But at least we'll have answers. He squeezed my hands. And maybe we'll finally understand what the First Darkness actually wants. World domination? Mass murder? The usual villain stuff? Maybe. Or maybe something worse. His expression was troubled. According to the texts, the First Darkness doesn't want to destroy wolves. It wants to corrupt them. To turn all of wolfkind into voidwalkers. An army of soulless creatures under its control. The implications were horrifying. How do we stop something like that? I don't know. But if Helena thought whatever she hid was important enough to die for, it might give us the answer. I stood, decision made. Then we leave tomorrow. Before I lose my nerve. Kaya. He caught my hand. Whatever we find in California, whatever truths come out, you're still you. Still the woman who rose from a grave. Still the Luna Wolf who redeemed a Voidwalker. Don't let the past define you. Easy to say. Not easy to live, but necessary. He pulled me close, and I let myself lean into his strength. You're not alone in this. Remember that. I breathed him in, cedar and leather, and something uniquely Riker. I'm scared, I admitted. Me too. But we're scared together. That makes it bearable. For now, that would have to be enough. Chapter 8. We flew to California the next morning. Riker had chartered a private jet because apparently, traveling commercial with the Luna Wolf was asking for attention we don't need. The flight took 6 hours, during which I tried not to think about what we might find. Sage came with us, along with Cole and 4 other Manhattan pack warriors. Even Mora insisted on accompanying us, claiming that if there were Luna Wolf secrets involved, she wanted to witness them firsthand. You've been researching Luna Wolves for 60 years, I said as we flew over the Midwest. Why? Mora's ancient eyes went distant. Because when I was young, I met one. She was dying, the last of her kind, and she told me that Luna Wolves would return when wolfkind needed them most. She made me promise to preserve their history. To be ready. She smiled. I never thought I'd actually meet one. You've made my entire life's work worthwhile. No pressure, I muttered. but I smiled too. Santa Monica was gorgeous. Ocean glittering under afternoon sun. Beach stretching for miles. Humans everywhere, completely unaware that wolves walked among them. The Luna Temple ruins were north of the city, hidden in the hills. It took another hour of driving on increasingly narrow roads before we reached them. What was left of the temple was haunting. White marble columns, cracked and weathered. Walls etched with symbols I didn't recognize but somehow understood, my Luna wolf heritage translating automatically. And at the center, a stone altar stained with old blood. This is where they performed the Luna ceremonies, Mora said reverently. Where young Luna wolves came to fully awaken their powers, before the Void Walkers destroyed it. I approached the altar, locket in hand. The coordinates had led us here.
Now what?
Blood, my wolf said suddenly. The wards respond to Luna wolf blood. Place the locket on the altar and cut your palm. You want me to bleed on ancient ruins? Unless you have a better idea. Fair point. I placed the locket on the altar center, then used a knife sage offered to slice my palm. Blood welled up, bright red against my pale skin. When it dripped onto the altar, everything changed. The symbols on the walls blazed with silver light. The air itself shimmered. And from the altar, a holographic figure emerged. Helena, my mother. She looked exactly like the photograph, but alive, moving, speaking. If you're seeing this, the hologram said, then you're my daughter. And you've manifested as a Luna wolf. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for your awakening, Kaya. I'm sorry for so many things. Hearing her say my name broke something in me. 23 years ago, I discovered something terrible, Helena continued. The Void Walkers aren't random. They're coordinated. And they're being directed by a wolf who's made a deal with the First Darkness. A wolf who's been systematically eliminating Luna wolves to ensure the First Darkness can return unchallenged.
Who?
I demanded, though she couldn't hear me. The wolf's name is Victor Steele, Helena said, and my blood turned to ice. He's been working with the First Darkness for 40 years. In exchange for power and immortality, he's been feeding Luna wolf locations to Void Walkers. He's responsible for the deaths of at least 5 Luna wolves, including my mentor, Marcus's father, the man who'd orchestrated my burial. Victor is planning something big, Helena continued. A ritual that will allow the First Darkness to fully manifest in our world. It requires the sacrifice of a Luna wolf and the destruction of the 3 Luna anchors, ancient artifacts that keep the First Darkness imprisoned. She paused, and her expression softened. Kaya, if you're watching this, it means I failed to stop him. It means Victor killed me and covered it up. But you can succeed where I failed. The 3 Luna anchors are hidden in the cities where wolf packs are strongest. Chicago, New York, and here in California. Find them. Protect them. And whatever you do, don't let Victor complete the ritual. The hologram began to flicker. I love you, daughter. I'm sorry I couldn't watch you grow. But I gave you life, and I gave you power. Use both wisely. Make me proud. Then she was gone. Silence. Victor Steele, Riker said slowly. Marcus said his father was killed by Void Walkers 3 weeks ago. Or maybe he faked his death, I said, pieces clicking together. Marcus said his father confessed before dying. What if that was a lie? What if Victor sent Marcus to me with just enough truth to make me trust him? Then this is a trap, Cole growled. We need to leave.
Now.
But it was too late. The air around us turned cold. Shadows coalesced into forms. Void Walkers, dozens of them, emerging from nowhere. And standing in the center, very much alive, was Victor Steele. Hello, Kaya, he said pleasantly. Thank you for leading me to the California anchor. I've been searching for it for 20 years. Chapter 9. We were surrounded. 50 Void Walkers against 8 wolves. Even with a Luna wolf, those weren't good odds. You're supposed to be dead, I said, buying time while my wolf assessed escape routes. There are none. Asterisk, she reported grimly. He planned this perfectly.
Dead.
Victor laughed. My dear, I haven't been truly alive in 40 years. The first darkness gave me immortality. I simply staged my death to throw off suspicion. Why? I demanded. Why betray your own kind? Because wolf-kind is weak. His pleasant expression twisted into contempt. We spend centuries hiding from humans, limiting our power, pretending to be civilized. The first darkness offers true strength. Freedom from the moon goddess's chains. I will help it return, and in exchange, I'll rule the new world it creates. You'll rule an empire of corpses, Riker snarled. Voidwalkers aren't alive. They're animated corruption. You're helping create a world of death. Evolution requires sacrifice. Victor's eyes found mine. And you, Kaya, will be the final sacrifice. Your death will shatter the last barrier holding the first darkness back. Your power, willingly given or taken, will fuel its resurrection. Then you'll have to take it, I said, shifting into my wolf form. Light blazed from my fur. Because I'm not giving you anything. The fight erupted. Voidwalkers attacked from all sides. Sage shifted into a sleek gray wolf, taking down two before they could reach Mora. Cole and the Manhattan Warriors formed a defensive circle. Riker's black wolf fought beside mine, our mate bond making us perfectly synchronized. But there were too many. I redeemed 3 Voidwalkers, purifying them into light. But for everyone I saved, 2 more appeared. Victor was right. He'd planned this perfectly. We need to find the anchor, my wolf urged. If we can secure it, maybe we can use its power. But where? Then I felt it. A pulse of energy from beneath the altar. The anchor was buried. Riker. I projected through our mate bond. The anchor is under the altar. I need 30 seconds. You've got it, he replied, and his howl rallied the pack. I ran for the altar, dodging Voidwalkers. Used my light to blast away the stone top. Beneath was a small chamber and, inside, a sphere of pure silver light.
Warm. Alive.
Pulsing with the moon goddess's power. The California Luna anchor. I reached for it, and the moment my paw touched it, knowledge flooded my mind. The anchors weren't just prisons. They were batteries. The moon goddess had poured her power into 3 artifacts to keep the first darkness sealed. But they could also channel that power to worthy users. To Luna wolves. Use it, the anchors seemed to whisper. * you are worthy. Save them. I grabbed the anchor in my jaws and turned to face the battle. Time to end this. I channeled the anchor's power through my Luna wolf gifts, and the light that erupted wasn't just bright. It was absolute. Silver-white radiance exploded outward in a sphere that covered the entire ruin. When it touched Voidwalkers, they didn't dissolve. They were reborn. The corruption burned away, revealing the wolves trapped underneath. 50 Voidwalkers became 50 confused, disoriented, but living wolves. Victor screamed.
No. You were supposed to die.
You were supposed to. Be easy to kill? I shifted back to humans still holding the anchor. Its light clothed me in silver energy. You spent 40 years killing Luna wolves who fought alone. But I'm not alone, Victor. I have a pack.
A mate.
People who chose me even when I was nothing. You are nothing, he roared. Wolfless trash who got lucky. I'm not lucky. I'm loved. And that's the power you'll never understand. I raised the anchor, and its light focused on Victor. For the first time, I saw him clearly. Not as a villain, but as what he'd been before darkness took him. A young wolf, scared and desperate. Watching his father die and feeling powerless. Making a terrible choice in a moment of grief. He's like the Voidwalkers, my wolf realized. Corrupted, but not beyond redemption. Can we save him? We can try. Victor, I said, my voice gentle despite everything. I know you made a deal when you were hurting, when you felt powerless. But that deal cost you your soul, your son, your humanity. It doesn't have to end this way. What are you offering? He snarled. Forgiveness? I killed your mother. I tried to kill you. I've destroyed lives. I'm offering you a choice, I interrupted. Let the anchor purify you. Become yourself again. Face justice for what you've done, but face it as a wolf, not a monster. Or refuse and become a void walker permanently. You'd actually save me? After everything? That's what Luna wolves do, I said simply. We transform darkness. It's literally our purpose. For a long moment, Victor stared at me. I could see the war in his eyes. 40 years of corruption versus the faint memory of who he'd been. Finally, he dropped to his knees. I'm so tired, he whispered. 40 years of lying,
Killing.
hating. I just wanted to stop. Then let it, I said gently. I placed the anchor against his chest, and silver light poured into him. He screamed.
Thrashed.
The corruption fought viciously to maintain its hold. But I held firm, channeling everything I had, power, compassion, the memories of every person he'd hurt, into purifying him. Slowly, the rot burned away. When it finished, Victor collapsed. Still alive. Still a wolf. But aged, his immortality gone, 40 years of false life catching up in seconds. He looked up at me with eyes that were finally, truly clear. I'm sorry, he croaked. For Helena. For you. For Marcus. I'm so sorry. I know, I said. And now you get to live with that. Truly live, truly face what you've done, and choose every day to be better. That's a crueler punishment than death. Maybe, but it's the one you've earned. Chapter 10. We returned to New York 3 days later. The 50 wolves we'd freed from Void Walker corruption came with us, along with Victor, now bound and awaiting trial from the Continental Wolf Council. The California anchor was secured in a vault that only I could access. 2 down, 1 to go. The Chicago anchor, Morris said during our strategy meeting. Victor confirmed its location before he was imprisoned. It's hidden beneath your childhood home. Of course it was. We need to retrieve it before any remaining Void Walkers find it, Riker said. Which means going back to Chicago. Back to the pack that buried me. Back to my family who'd betrayed me. I'll go, I said. But on my terms. Not as their daughter. As a Luna wolf retrieving what belongs to the moon goddess. We'll come with you, Sage said immediately. All of us, Riker added, his hand finding mine under the table. Thank you, I said softly. For choosing me. Always, he replied. 2 weeks later, we arrived in Chicago. The Steelclaw pack had changed. Victor's arrest and trial were public knowledge now. The pack was leaderless, fractured, scared. When we arrived, they didn't attack. They submitted. Luna Wolf, my father said, approaching slowly. He looked smaller than I remembered. Older. Broken. Thank you for coming. We don't deserve your help. You don't, I agreed. But the anchor does. It's not yours to keep, and it's not safe here. I know. I'll take you to it. My childhood home was exactly as I remembered. Same furniture. Same pictures on the walls. Me and Damon as children, smiling before everything went wrong. He asks about you, my father said quietly. Every day. Damon. He wants to see you to apologize. No. I kept walking. He made his choice. I've made mine. The anchor was hidden in the basement, beneath a false floor. When I touched it, it blazed with welcoming light. Recognition. The Chicago anchor had been waiting for me. As I secured it in a protective case, my mother appeared. Kaya, she whispered. Baby, please.
Can we talk?
What's there to say? I didn't look at her. You watched them bury me alive. You said nothing. Did nothing. I was afraid. Everyone's afraid. I finally turned to face her. The difference is some people choose courage anyway. You didn't. You chose comfort over protecting your daughter. I know, and I've hated myself every day since. Tears streamed down her face. But you're alive. You're powerful. You've become everything I never could be. I became this despite you, I interrupted. Not because of you. And that's something you'll have to live with. I walked past her, anchor in hand, and didn't look back. Outside, Damon was waiting. My twin. My mirror. The boy who'd been my best friend before pack politics destroyed us. Kaya, he said, voice breaking.
Please.
5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I looked at Riker, who nodded. I'll wait in the car. After he left, Damon and I stood in uncomfortable silence. I should have stopped them, he finally said. I should have stood beside you. Fought for you. But I was scared of becoming an outcast like you. So I chose the pack over my sister. He swallowed hard. That's the worst thing I've ever done, and I'll regret it until I die. Good, I said simply. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. See what you went through. What we put you through. He looked at me with eyes exactly like mine. You're incredible, Kaya. You became something beautiful despite us trying to make you nothing. I'm proud of you, even if I have no right to be. Something in me softened. Just a fraction. I forgive you, I said quietly. Not because you've earned it, but because carrying hatred only hurts me. But Damon, we're not siblings anymore. That relationship died when you watched them bury me. We're just two wolves who happen to share DNA. I understand. He nodded, tears streaming. For what it's worth, I hope you're happy. Wherever you go, whatever you do. I hope you find everything they tried to take from you. I already have, I said, thinking of Riker, Sage, Mora, the Manhattan Pack. I have a family now. One that chose me. I walked away, and this time, I felt no regret. Chapter 11. The New York anchor was the hardest to secure. According to Mora's research, it was hidden in the oldest part of Manhattan, specifically in the ruins beneath Riker's building. The original Luna Temple of New York had been built on that exact spot 3,000 years ago. So we've been living on top of a Luna artifact this whole time? Sage asked. Apparently, Riker said. Which explains why this location has always felt powerful. We excavated carefully, not wanting to damage something irreplaceable. It took 3 days of digging before we found the chamber. It was beautiful. Walls carved with every Luna wolf who'd ever lived. A ceiling painted with H constellations. And in the center, floating in midair, a sphere of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. The New York anchor. When I approached it, the anchor spoke. Not in words. In feelings. Memories. Visions. I saw Helena placing the California anchor. Saw her fighting Victor. Saw her last moments, knowing she was dying but making sure her work would survive her. I saw other Luna wolves throughout history. Their triumphs. Their failures. Their sacrifices. And I saw the future. Multiple possible futures. In one, I succeeded. Stopped the first darkness permanently. Brought a new era of peace to wolfkind. In another, I failed. The darkness consumed everything. Wolves became extinct. In a third, I made a terrible choice. Became corrupted myself in an attempt to defeat evil. Became the very thing I fought against. Choose wisely, the anchors seem to say. Power without wisdom leads to ruin. I reached for it, and the moment I touched it, all 3 anchors activated simultaneously. Light erupted. Not just in the chamber, but across the entire city. Every wolf in Manhattan felt it, a pulse of pure power announcing that all 3 Luna anchors were now united. And in the darkness between moments, something else felt it too. The first darkness. It was coming. Chapter 12. The attack came at midnight. Not just in New York. Simultaneously in Chicago and California. Voidwalkers attacking all 3 former anchor locations, thinking we'd hidden them there. They were wrong. We'd moved all 3 anchors to a neutral location, an island in the middle of the Hudson River that had been used for Luna wolf ceremonies millennia ago. Wards protected it. Only wolves could access it. And we'd fortified it with every warrior we could muster. 300 wolves from Manhattan. 200 from Chicago, led by Damon despite our fractured relationship. 100 from California. And 50 former Voidwalkers we'd redeemed, fighting to make amends for what they'd done while corrupted. 650 wolves against an army of darkness. The first darkness manifested as a massive shadow that blocked out the moon itself. Within it, thousands of glowing eyes. Void walkers beyond counting. And its voice, when it spoke, made the earth itself tremble. Luna Wolf, you have something that belongs to me. The anchors don't belong to you, I shouted back, standing on the island's highest point. All 3 anchors orbited around me, blazing with silver light. They belong to the moon goddess. And she gave them to me. The moon goddess is weak. She gave wolves souls to protect them from me, but souls can be broken, corrupted, twisted into something beautiful. Your version of beautiful is death and slavery. My version is evolution. Wolves no longer bound by morality or compassion. Pure predators, as they were meant to be. We're not meant to be predators, I said. We're meant to be protectors. And I'm going to protect everything you want to destroy. Then you will die, like your mother. Like every Luna wolf before you. The darkness attacked. Void walkers poured from the shadow, like water from a broken dam.
Thousands of them.
Too many to count, impossible to fight.
But we tried anyway.
The battle was chaos. Wolves fighting side by side with former enemies. Chicago wolves protecting Manhattan wolves. California wolves covering retreat routes. And in the center of it all, me. I channeled the anchor's power, creating barriers of light that held back the worst of the assault. But for every void walker I redeemed, 2 more appeared. We were losing. We need to go to the source, my wolf said urgently. The first darkness itself. If we can purify it, all the void walkers die with it. But I'd seen what happened to Luna wolves who tried that. Helena had tried.
She died.
So we choose to die fighting or live as cowards. She was right. Riker. I shouted through our bond. I'm going after the source. Hold the line. Kaya, no. But I was already running. Shifting. Using the anchor's power to create a bridge of light directly into the heart of darkness. The cold was immediate and absolute. This close to the first darkness, my light struggled to maintain itself. The corruption pressed against me from all sides, trying to seep in, to corrupt, to break. Foolish child. You cannot redeem me. I am not corrupted. I am corruption itself. I am the darkness that existed before light. Then I'll bring light to where there was none, I said. I channeled everything. The 3 anchors' power. My Luna Wolf gifts. The mate bond connecting me to Riker. The pack bonds connecting me to 650 wolves fighting below. Every connection, every ounce of love and loyalty and chosen family, I poured it all into one focused beam of redemptive light. And I aimed it at the heart of the first darkness. The scream that followed could have shattered continents. The darkness thrashed, fought. But I held firm, even as the corruption tried to drag me down. Even as I felt my life force draining. Even as everything went cold and numb and distant. This is how Helena died, I realized dimly. Giving everything to save wolves who'd never know her name. But unlike Helena, I wasn't alone. Through the mate bond, Riker's strength flooded into me. Through the pack bonds, 650 wolves sent their power. Through the anchors themselves, the moon goddess's blessing poured like endless water. I wasn't one Luna wolf. I was an army of chosen family, fighting together. The light intensified. The darkness began to crack. Impossible. You cannot. I am eternal. I cannot be. You can, I said, my voice layered with harmonics from every wolf connected to me. Because light doesn't destroy darkness. It transforms it. Shows it what it could have been before fear twisted it into hate. And I did something insane. I forgave it. I forgave the first darkness for every Luna wolf it killed. For every pack it destroyed. For 3,000 years of corruption and death and suffering. Not because it deserved forgiveness, but because hatred was what created it in the first place, and I refused to feed it anymore. The darkness shattered like glass. Where the massive shadow had been, something else appeared. Something small, fragile. A wolf spirit, ancient beyond measure, curled in on itself like a wounded child. I was the first wolf to feel fear. Asterisk, it whispered directly into my mind. Asterisk, the first to be rejected by the pack. The first to be called worthless. The pain turned me into this. Into something that wanted everyone to feel what I felt. Asterisk. I know, I said gently, approaching the spirit. I was called worthless too. Buried alive by my own family. I understand what that pain does. But you didn't become me.
Why?
Because I had one thing you didn't, I said. The choice to believe I was worth saving, even when no one else did. And that choice, made over and over, saved my soul. I touched the spirit gently with my light. You can make that choice too, asterisk, I offered. Asterisk, let the moon goddess heal you. Become what you were meant to be before pain corrupted you. It's not too late. The spirit was silent for a long moment. Then, impossibly, it began to glow. Not with corruption, but with clean, pure light. I'm so tired, it whispered. 3,000 years of hate.
I just want to rest.
Then rest, I said. Be at peace. Your war is over. The first darkness dissolved into light and scattered on cosmic winds, finally free of the hate that had trapped it. And every void walker in existence dissolved with it, their stolen souls released to whatever afterlife awaited them. The battle was over. I collapsed on the island, completely drained. The anchors settled around me, their light dimming to gentle pulses, protecting me even as I had nothing left to give. Riker reached me first, shifting to human form and gathering me into his arms. You incredible, insane, beautiful wolf, he said, voice breaking. Don't ever do that again. Can't promise that, I managed to whisper. Seems to be my thing now. Around us, 650 wolves stood in stunned silence. Then, as one, they began to howl. Not in victory or celebration. In reverence. In acknowledgement of what they'd witnessed. A Luna wolf, surrounded by chosen family, redeeming the unredeemable. Transforming 3,000 years of darkness into light. 6 months later, the Luna Temple in New York was rebuilt. Not on the ruins beneath Riker's building, but on the island where the final battle had taken place. A monument to what wolves could accomplish when they chose unity over division, compassion over hate. I stood in its central chamber, looking at the 3 anchors now permanently installed. They pulsed gently, their power stabilized. No longer prisons but beacons, guiding lights for any wolf who needed hope. They're beautiful, Sage said, coming to stand beside me. She'd been named second Luna Guardian last month, the first of a new generation trained to protect without corrupting. They're a reminder, I corrected, that light and dark will always battle. The question is which side we feed. Footsteps behind us. Riker entered, dressed formally. Today was important. Ready? He asked. I nodded. We walked together to the temple's courtyard where 200 wolves waited, representatives from packs across North America. They'd come to witness the first Luna wolf mating ceremony in 300 years. Morris stood at the altar, ancient eyes bright with joy. We gather under the full moon, she began, her voice carrying across the courtyard, to witness the binding of souls. Kaya Monroe, Luna Wolf, Redeemer of Darkness, Guardian of Light. And Riker Blackwood, Alpha of Manhattan, Protector of the Lost. Riker took my hands, his amber eyes holding mine. I wanted to do this in front of everyone, he said, because I want the world to know. I don't own you. I don't control you. I don't complete you. You're already complete. But I'm honored to stand beside you as you become whatever you're meant to be. That's the single most un-alpha thing you've ever said, I replied, smiling. Yeah? How about this? He pulled me close. I love you, Kaya. Not because the moon goddess paired us. Because you're brave and compassionate and absolutely terrifying when you're angry. Because you chose to forgive instead of hate. Because you looked at the darkest thing in existence and offered it redemption. You make me sound like a saint. You're not a saint. You're human.
Flawed.
Beautiful. Real. He brushed a strand of silver hair from my face. And you're mine, if you'll have me. Always, I whispered. When we kissed, the mate bond completed with a pulse of power that made every wolf present gasp. Silver light erupted from us both, swirling together in patterns that wrote themselves into the temple walls. A permanent record. A new beginning. The reception was held under the stars. I found myself surrounded by faces that had become family. Sage, laughing with Cole about some training mishap. Mora, deep in conversation with California Pack elders about establishing Luna Guardian schools across North America. The 50 redeemed Void Walkers, now fully integrated into various packs, living proof that redemption was possible. Even some faces from my past appeared. Damon stood at the edges, watching but not approaching. When our eyes met, he simply nodded. Acknowledgement, respect, acceptance that we'd never be what we were, but maybe that was okay. My mother had sent a letter. I hadn't opened it yet. Might never open it. Some wounds took time to heal, if they healed at all. But Marcus's letter, I'd read. Dear Kaya, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that Victor's trial changed me. Watching him face justice, hearing the testimonies of everyone he'd hurt, it showed me what I almost became. I've stepped down as heir to the Steelclaw Pack. Left Chicago entirely. I'm in California now, working with the redeemed Void Walkers. Trying to make amends for the life I almost took. You were right that night at the training room. I chose fear over love, comfort over courage. And I'll regret that until I die. But I'm grateful too. Grateful you survived. Grateful you became something so powerful that even my worst choices couldn't destroy you. I hope you're happy, Kaya. I hope whoever stands beside you now deserves you in ways I never did. Marcus. I'd cried reading it. Not because I wanted him back, but because it was closure. Proof that even the worst people could choose to change. Whatcha thinking about? Riker appeared with 2 glasses of champagne. How weird life is, I said, accepting a glass. 6 months ago, I was buried alive. Wolfless. Nothing. Now I made it to an alpha, leading a pack, training the next generation of Luna Guardians. Having regrets? Not even slightly. I leaned into him. This is better than anything I imagined. Even the hard parts. Speaking of hard parts, he said carefully, Mora mentioned something. About Luna wolves burning bright and dying young. About how the power consumes them. She told you that? She wanted me prepared. Said most Luna wolves don't live past 40. His voice was tight. Kaya, I just got you. I'm not ready to lose you. I turned to face him fully. Then we make every moment count. We love fiercely. Fight bravely. Build something that lasts even after we're gone. That's not enough. It's all any of us get. I touched his face gently. But Riker? I'm not planning to burn out at 40. I'm planning to rewrite what Luna wolves can be. Live long. Love deep. Prove that power doesn't have to destroy the person wielding it. You really believe that? I have to. Otherwise, what's the point of surviving? He pulled me close, and we danced under stars that had watched Luna wolves rise and fall for millennia. But this time, something was different. This time, the Luna wolf had a mate who believed in her. A pack that chose her. A purpose beyond just fighting darkness. This time, maybe the story could have a different ending. 3 years later, the Luna Guardian Academy graduated its first class today. 30 wolves, trained in redemptive techniques, spiritual warfare, and the delicate balance between power and compassion. They'd scatter across North America, working with packs to identify and heal corruption before it became catastrophic. Sage stood on stage, delivering a speech about the responsibility that came with their gifts. She'd grown into a role as head Luna Guardian, leading with humor and wisdom in equal measure. I watched from the back, one hand resting on my swollen belly. Twins. A boy and a girl. Both showing signs of Luna wolf heritage already, making my pregnancy a light show that required me to stay shielded, so I didn't blind innocent bystanders. "They're going to be terrors," Riker said, his hand covering mine. "Just like their mother." "Their mother is a delight. Their mother once redeemed the first darkness out of pure stubbornness." "Fair point." Mora approached, leaning heavily on her walking stick but smiling. "The first Luna Wolf children born in 3 centuries. The goddess must have plans for them. Or maybe they'll just get to be kids," I said hopefully. "No prophecies. No ancient evils. Just normal childhoods." "With you as a mother? Unlikely." But Mora's expression was fond. "You've built something remarkable, Kaya. A new generation of protectors. Packs working together instead of in isolation. A world where being different is celebrated, not buried." She was right. The last 3 years had transformed wolf culture. Pack hierarchies were more flexible. Wolfless wolves were accepted. Redemptive justice replaced execution for most crimes. It wasn't perfect. Change never was. But it was better. "Do you ever think about them?" Mora asked quietly. "Your birth parents. What they'd think of what you've become." "Helena would be proud," I said. "She died trying to stop the darkness. I finished what she started." "And your father?" I thought about Devin Monroe, the man who'd raised me but never protected me. "I think he lives with regret," I said finally. "And that's punishment enough. I've moved on." "Have you?" Mora's sharp eyes studied me. Had I? The truth was, I didn't think about Chicago much anymore. That life felt like it belonged to a different person. The wolfless girl who'd been buried alive had died in that grave. What rose from it was someone new. Someone who'd chosen her family, her purpose, her identity. Someone who'd learned that the most powerful magic wasn't light or darkness, but the choice to keep being kind despite every reason not to. "Yeah," I said softly. "I have. I'm home now. Really home." Riker kissed my temple.
Good.
"Because the twins are kicking, and I think they agree." We stood together, watching the next generation of Guardians receive their marks. Watching a future we'd built from the ashes of a past that tried to destroy us. And for the first time in my life, I felt no fear about what came next. Whatever darkness rose, we'd face it together. Whatever challenges appeared, we'd meet them with compassion and strength. Because that's what wolves did when they chose light over darkness. They didn't just survive. They thrived. 5 years later, my children were everything. Luna, named for what I was, had inherited my white fur and silver markings. She was 5 years old and already manifesting healing abilities that made Mora weep with joy. Kieran, named for an ancient Luna Wolf hero, had his father's black fur, but my glowing eyes. He could sense emotions from across a room, making him either the world's best diplomat or worst secret keeper. They were playing in the temple courtyard, chasing each other in wolf form while Sage supervised with the patience of a saint. "They're fast," Mora observed, sitting beside me on the temple steps. She was 93 now, frail but still sharp as broken glass. "They're terrors," I corrected fondly. "They're hope." Mora's hand covered mine. "I'm dying, Kaya. Don't argue, I can feel it. Maybe 6 months. Maybe less." "Mora, listen. I've lived a full life. Longer than I deserved. But I need to tell you something before I go." She took a shaky breath. "Victor came to me last week. In the prison." Victor Steele was serving life for his crimes, spending his final years in isolation. I'd visited once 5 years ago to verify he was truly rehabilitated. He'd been broken. Genuine. Still paying for 40 years of darkness. "What did he say?" I asked carefully. "He asked me to give you something." Mora pulled a small leather journal from her robes. His journals. Everything he learned while working with the first darkness.
He said you should have it.
Said maybe it'll help you prevent the next Victor Steele. I took the journal reluctantly. Why would I want this? Because darkness doesn't end just because we defeat it once. Mora's ancient eyes held mine. It evolves. Changes. Finds new ways to corrupt. And you need to understand how it thinks if you're going to keep fighting it. I'm retired, I protested. I'm raising children. Running the Guardian Academy. I'm not actively hunting darkness anymore. Kaya, you're a Luna Wolf. You'll never truly retire. She smiled sadly. But that's okay. Because you're not alone. You have Riker, your children, the Guardians, an entire network of wolves who'll fight beside you. She was right, of course. Thank you, I said quietly. For everything. For believing in Luna wolves when they were just legend.
For preparing the way.
For giving your life to this. It was an honor, Mora said simply. She died 3 months later, peacefully in her sleep. We buried her in the temple courtyard, beneath a tree we planted in her honor. Luna and Kieran placed flowers on her grave every day for a year. 10 years later. Luna was 15 now, training to be a Luna Guardian like her mother. Kieran was 13, showing early signs of alpha potential that made Riker simultaneously proud and terrified. I was 32. Still alive, still fighting, still proving that Luna wolves didn't have to burn out young. The secret? Balance. Sharing the burden. Not trying to save the world alone. We'd established Guardian outposts in every major city. Chicago, New York, California, Seattle, Miami, Denver. A network of wolves trained in redemptive techniques, working together to identify and heal corruption before it spread. It wasn't perfect. We lost wolves sometimes. Darkness still found ways to manifest. But we were winning more than we lost. And when new threats appeared, and they always did, we faced them together. Today, I stood in the Chicago Guardian outpost, about to do something I'd avoided for 10 years. Visit my parents.
They were old now.
My father had stepped down as Alpha 5 years ago, replaced by a younger wolf with more progressive ideas. My mother lived quietly alone, her mate bond to my father broken by guilt and time. Damon had reached out last month. Said our mother was dying. Wanted to see me one last time. I debated for weeks. Riker had been supportive either way. Whatever you choose, I'll be there. In the end, I came. Not for her. For me. For closure. The house looked the same. Smaller, somehow, but the same. Damon answered the door. He was 32 too, my mirror, but we'd lived such different lives that we barely resembled each other anymore. Thank you for coming, he said quietly. She's upstairs. Weak, but coherent. I climbed the stairs to my childhood bedroom. She'd kept it exactly as I'd left it 10 years ago. Pictures.
Books.
Memories of a girl who didn't exist anymore. My mother lay in bed, frail and small. When she saw me, tears filled her eyes.
Kaya.
My baby. You came. I came, I said, staying by the door. Not to forgive. Not to reconnect. Just to say goodbye. That's more than I deserve. She struggled to sit up. I've watched you from afar. Seen what you've built. What you've become. You're extraordinary. I know. She flinched at my bluntness. I'm sorry. For everything. For not protecting you. For choosing silence. For failing you as a mother. I know you're sorry, I said. I've known for 10 years. But sorry doesn't undo trauma. Doesn't give me back the childhood I deserved. Doesn't fix what was broken. Then why come, she whispered. Because I want you to die knowing I'm okay. That your failure didn't destroy me. That I built a life so beautiful, so full of love, that what you did barely matters anymore. I met her eyes. I want you to know I won. Despite you, I won. She sobbed then, deep and wrenching. Not from pain, but from the weight of knowing exactly how badly she'd failed. I'm glad, she finally managed. I'm glad you won. Glad you're happy. Glad you found wolves who deserved you. Me too, I said. And then I left. No tearful reconciliation. No magical healing of old wounds. Just a daughter, finally free of her mother's ghost, walking away into a life she'd built from scratch. Outside, Riker waited with our children. How do you feel? He asked. Light, I said, surprised by the truth. I feel light. Luna hugged me fiercely. Can we go home now? To real home.
Yes, sweetheart.
Let's go home. 20 years later. I was 42. Far past the age most Luna wolves lived. But I'd learned the secret. Power didn't have to consume you if you shared it freely. If you built systems that didn't depend on one person carrying everything. If you loved fiercely and forgave quickly and chose, every single day, to be better than yesterday. The Luna Temple was celebrating its 20th anniversary. Thousands of wolves packed the courtyard, representing packs from across North America. Luna, now 25, stood on stage delivering a speech about the future of guardian training. She was magnificent, powerful without being cruel, compassionate without being weak. Everything I'd hoped to teach her. Kieran, 23, stood beside his father, preparing to take over as alpha when Riker eventually stepped down. They looked alike now, though Kieran had my silver eyes. Sage, ancient by wolf standards at 46 but still vital, led a workshop on redemptive justice. She dedicated her life to this work, never mating, never having children, but mothering hundreds of guardians through their training. And me? I stood at the back, watching the legacy I'd built, and felt something I'd never expected.
Peace.
You did it, Riker said, appearing beside me. You broke the curse. Lived past 40. Built something that'll outlast us both. We did it, I corrected. I couldn't have done any of this alone. Speaking of not alone, he said, grinning. Guess who just arrived? I turned and saw Marcus walking through the crowd. He was 45 now, scarred from 20 years of Redham. Tive work in the most dangerous territories. But his eyes were clear. His soul was clean. We'd never be friends. Too much history. But over the years, we developed a mutual respect. He dedicated his life to atoning, to saving wolves others had written off, to being better than the man who'd buried his fiancée alive. Kaya, he said, stopping a respectful distance away. Thank you for the invitation. You've earned it, I said simply. 20 years of good work deserves recognition. I'll never earn your forgiveness. No, I agreed. But you've earned your own. And sometimes that's more important. He smiled slightly. Wise words from the Luna Wolf. Just words from someone who's learned that holding grudges is exhausting. We stood in comfortable silence for a moment. I'm proud of you, Marcus finally said. For becoming this. For proving everyone wrong. For choosing compassion when hate would have been easier. I'm proud of you too, I replied. For choosing to change. After he walked away, Riker pulled me close. You know what's amazing, he said. You redeemed him too. Not with Luna Wolf magic. Just by living well. By showing him what was possible. Is that redemption? The best kind. The kind that comes from within. As the celebration continued around us, I thought about everything that had led to this moment. Being buried alive. Awakening as something legend. Fighting darkness. Building light. Choosing love over hate, again and again and again. It hadn't been easy. There were scars. Memories that still hurt. Wolves I'd lost along the way. But standing there, surrounded by family, chosen and blood, complicated and clear, I knew one thing for certain.
I would do it all again.
Every painful moment. Every impossible choice. Every battle that nearly killed me. Because it led to this.
To home.
50 years later, an old woman stood in the Luna Temple, studying the statues erected in honor of past guardians. She was 92, silver-haired, bent with age, but still sharp-eyed. A young girl stood beside her, maybe 7, with white fur that glowed faintly even in human form. Great-Grandma Kaya, the girl asked, is it true you were buried alive? Kaya smiled. Who told you that story?
Mom.
She said you died and came back as a Luna Wolf. She said you saved the world. I didn't save the world, sweetheart. I just did my best with what I was given. Same as everyone. But you lived so long. Mom says most Luna wolves die young. They do, Kaya said softly, because they try to carry everything alone. I learned to share the weight. That's the real secret. Not power or prophecy. Just understanding you're not meant to fight alone.
The girl thought about that.
When I manifest my wolf, will you teach me? If I'm still around, absolutely. But even if I'm not, you'll have your mother, your pack. Hundreds of guardians who've learned the lessons I taught. You'll never be alone. Were you alone? When you were buried, Kaya was quiet for a long moment.
Yes.
For a little while, I was the loneliest person in the world. But that loneliness taught me to value connection, to choose family carefully, to fight for the people who choose you back. I'm glad you survived, great-grandma. Me too, little one. Me too. As they walked through the temple together, past statues of Mora and Sage and all the others who'd built this legacy, Kaya felt the weight of years, but no regret.
She'd lived. Truly lived.
Loved fiercely. Built something beautiful from the ashes of trauma. And when her time came, soon now, she could feel it. She'd go peacefully, knowing the work would continue. Because that's what Luna Wolves did. They lit fires that burned long after they were gone. Kaya Monroe died at 93, surrounded by 4 generations of family. Her funeral was attended by thousands. Wolves from every pack in North America. Humans who'd been saved by guardian interventions. Even a few former enemies, redeemed and rehabilitated, come to pay respects. They buried her in the temple courtyard beside Mora and Riker, who died 2 years prior, his wolf refusing to live without its mate. Under the tree they'd planted 60 years ago. And on her gravestone, a simple inscription. Kaya Monroe, Luna Wolf, Redeemer, Lightbringer. She was buried alive. She chose to rise. The day after her funeral, a young wolf in Chicago manifested white fur for the first time in 50 years. Another Luna Wolf, awakening to a world Kaya had made safer.
Kinda.
More ready to embrace what was different instead of burying it. The cycle continued. But this time, the Luna Wolf wouldn't fight alone. This time, she'd have the legacy Kaya built. The temples, the guardians, the knowledge that being different wasn't a curse. It was a gift. And gifts were meant to be celebrated, not buried. They tried to bury her alive for being wolfless. She shifted into a white Luna wolf and chaos erupted. But the real chaos was building a world where no one would ever be buried for being different again. That was her true legacy. And it burned brighter than any darkness could ever hope to extinguish. And if you've been looking for the right companion during these holiday season, grab my ebook, The Night His Wolf Chose Me. You're going to love every bit of it, even more than you enjoyed this story. Use the link in the comment section and video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.